In this episode, we're going to be talking about the very, very important skill of stopping. As face-to-face fundraisers, everything begins with a conversation. So the more conversations we can get into, the more people we can stop and talk to, the better we will do. Hey, what's up guys? Jules here. And yes, today's topic is stopping. Now, in fairness, this is a big topic. This is not something that I can talk to in 10, 12 minutes in its entirety. There's a lot of different aspects to this, and there's a lot of different things that I want to explore with this idea. So in this first part, we're going to look at two fundamental questions. Number one, why stopping is so important. Now we're going to look at more than just the obvious. And number two, we're going to be looking at if we want more people to stop and engage with us, let's understand why more people don't stop in the first place, right? This is the obvious way for us to solve for this. If we understand the reasons why they don't stop, then hopefully we can mitigate, or we can act or behave or take certain actions that can lead to more people saying yes for a conversation. So those are the two things we're going to be discussing. So firstly, why is stopping such an important skill? Now, the obvious reason is that if we don't get people to stop and talk to us, then we obviously can't get them to say yes and support the cause, right? Super simple reason here. Stopping is the way that we create more opportunities for people to say yes. But there is a second reason, and I think this is actually more important, particularly in the long run. Now, the reason why many people don't think of this second reason is because we see stopping as a means to an end. We see it as, reason number one. We see it as the way that we're going to get someone to say yes. Now, while this is true, there's another aspect to this that's really, really important to understand for a few reasons. Now, if we think of any skill that we want to develop, whether it be creative, artistic, athletic, what does it take to improve? Well, it's the same strategy. It's practice, it's repetition, right? Repetition, practice makes progress. The more we practice, the more we do, the better we get, right? The more we go to gym and lift and do reps of weights, the stronger we get. The more we practice drawing, the better we get at drawing. And fundraising is no different. However, stopping is the gateway to that practice. It is the entry point. Without getting into conversations, we can't practice. The more conversations we have, the more practice we get, the better we ultimately become, and the better we perform in the long run. Now, if we see stopping as practice, this helps us in a number of ways. Firstly, it helps us to more easily deliberately practice. Now, I spoke about deliberate practice in a previous video, so be sure to check that one out. But essentially, if we are focused on practice for its own sake, if we are looking for ways to improve and we're thinking about what we're doing and how we're doing it, we're going to develop those skills and become better. But also this helps us massively in reducing anxiety and stress of the job of fundraising. I work with a lot of fundraisers, new and experienced. Those who are new particularly worry about things like messing up, forgetting their words, how they might be perceived. Those maybe who are a little bit more experienced worry about, am I going to be successful? If I'm not successful, then that means that I've failed. Or, I speak to fundraisers who do get down after, a number of conversations that haven't led to a yes. But if we see stopping as practice, then we don't have to worry so much about what the outcome is. It allows us to be not only more mindful, but show up in a much more powerful way. Because when our stress levels are low, when we're anxiety free, when we're enjoying what we're doing and we're feeling engaged and passionate, this is what leads to people stopping more readily. It's what leads to people being more engaged in conversations, and ultimately leads to us being more successful as fundraisers. So I highly, highly encourage everybody who's watching this to think of stopping as practice, even if you're very experienced. And actually, even particularly if you're really experienced, this is really helpful because you're probably so well adjusted to the role that if you are focused on practicing and just really refining your skill set, you can take those skills to the next level. So seeing it as practice doesn't just help you in the long term because you're developing the skills, but actually helps you in the moment because you're able to perform far better without the worry or anxiety of the outcome. So that brings us to the second question of this episode, and that is why more people don't stop and talk to fundraisers. Now, it's no surprise to you who've been fundraising for even a day that the majority of people you attempt to stop to engage with don't stop and talk to you. But why is that? I think if we can understand a little bit more about why people aren't stopping in the first place, we can then solve for this. We can think of ways to mitigate some of this impact so we can actually become more effective and stop more people more readily. If you just take a moment now to think why more people don't stop. The common response that I get when I ask people this is convenience. They haven't planned to stop and talk to us. They're in a rush. They're in a hurry. They're going somewhere. They've got things to do, places to be, people to see. Now, I think this is one of the reasons why people don't stop and talk to us, but I actually don't think it's the main one. Although that's maybe what people say when they walk past is not today, not right now, I'm in a rush. I actually don't think that's the main reason at all. And I think this for a number of reasons that I won't go into all of them here, but I think most people have a few minutes. I mean, I work at events and shows quite often, and these are places that people essentially have just come here to look around, to look at stalls, to see something, and they're not very often in a rush or have a very structured agenda. They have time, but I get many of the same responses. And through the experience that I've had, I think the main reason people don't stop and talk to us comes down to comfort. The ultimate human condition. We all want to find things that are more comfortable and pleasurable, and we want to run away from and get away from things that are uncomfortable. And if you think about the prospect of engaging with a fundraiser, they first of all don't know who we are. They don't know how we're going to talk to them. They don't know how we're going to approach them, what our character is. They might have had a bad experience with a fundraiser or a salesperson. They probably anticipate we're going to ask them for money, right? We're fundraising for a good cause. There's that part of us that probably knows that we should do something, we could do something, it's probably a good thing to do, and people are rubbing up against that feeling of I should be doing something, but I'm not. All in all, this is just not comfortable for people, right? People don't readily seek out opportunities to feel this way, and so that kind of makes perfect sense. But if the two main reasons are convenience and comfort, how do we actually solve for these? How do we make it more convenient and more comfortable for people to stop and talk? Now, unfortunately, I don't have the time to get into it in this video. I want to keep these short. If you want longer form videos, comment below and I can certainly make some, but I want to keep these short and sweet. So I'm going to be creating a few more videos, particularly 2 more on convenience and on comfort, so that I can properly explore these 2 ideas. But to give you a little bit of a taster for those episodes, if we want to make it more convenient for people to stop and talk, we want to primarily focus on technique and strategy. We want to act and behave and stop in a way that makes it as easy as possible. We remove some of the friction, right? People generally follow the path of least resistance. So if we remove some of the resistance that we may be creating without knowing, then we can make it more convenient. And then on the comfort side, this comes down to becoming someone who's more comfortable to engage with. We're going to be talking about what makes someone appealing and attractive to engage with. And I'm not talking about physical appearance here. I'm talking about what makes someone more likely to want to engage. What makes the prospect of engaging with us more comfortable. So I'm going to be diving more deeply into these 2 ideas in upcoming episodes. So I hope that's given you some food for thought. Number 1, focus on the development that stopping provides. Focus on stopping not as a means to an end, but as the entry point to developing your skills and becoming better. And number 2, focus on solving for those 2 issues, making it more convenient and more comfortable for people to talk to. So be sure to watch part 2 and 3 for more of the lowdown on how we do that. And so, yeah, I hope this video has been insightful and helpful. If you enjoy this content, please comment below. I would love it if you would subscribe so you get my videos on a regular basis. Hit that bell notification so that you know when they come out. Share it with a fellow fundraiser. That would be super helpful as well. And until next time, stay inspired and keep fundraising.